everyone, welcome to Millennium Computers online 5-minute tutorial series. Today's course is going to take a quick look at the question, how do I complete a budget transfer? Now this course obviously relates specifically to FAST budget and forecasting, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the new functionality involved in the budget transfer process. Now, first and foremost, I'm getting started today on my Quick Launch tab, and this tends to be my preference in terms of a starting place for pretty much all of my basic key functions within budget and forecasting. It just gives me quick access to all the features that I use most commonly. You can certainly also access any of your budget transfer functionality from the budget transfer menu on the top of the page. As a quicker option, I can click on my drop-down and find an open in progress existing budget transfer. This is going to show me the list of budget transfers that I've started but have not yet submitted for approval. I'm going to choose this one. And now FAST is just going to quickly bring me to the budget transfer that I started at some point in time but haven't yet submitted for approval. Maybe I wasn't ready to submit it, or I had to add a couple of extra line items to this transfer. Now this is a sample of a budget transfer that's already been started, but of course, if this were a blank, brand new budget transfer, I would have to first complete my header row. The required fields are always going to display with a red asterisk, and in general terms, that includes an organization code, an effective date, a budget series to post to. In this example, I've also included a budget type, and I've had to include some basic description in the form of text. Once I click Save Header, it's going to open up the accounting lines below and allow me to enter net new line items, or in this case, I could certainly make edits to any of my existing line items. Let's go ahead and enter one line item just as a sample of how to do the data entry component of my budget transfers. I'm going to click Plus New to add a new line item. And now just go ahead and key in new line items. If I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for, I can also use any of the different search features available on my data entry grid. I can click on my magnifying glass, which is going to open up a list of all the different codes that I specifically have access to. Make your selection from the list, and then just click Tab to move to the next cell. I could also use this based on a keyword search. If I were to enter part of a word instead of a number, and click either my Enter key or the magnifying glass, I'm going to open up categories that in this case relate to supply accounts. Keep in mind you need to fill in all the fields that are highlighted in pink because these denote mandatory cells for My Business Rules. Now I'm going to scroll a little bit over to the right-hand side and give you a little bit of insight into the different data entry models for my dollar amounts. Now there are two distinct models available for budget transfers. One is a traditional debits and credits model, and that's typically used in a very centralized workflow where you will understand how to complete the debit and credit columns correctly. This is typically considered more of an accounting workflow and is less familiar, generally speaking, in the outside user community. If you've chosen to decentralize your budget transfer requests, you may be using the period-based budget transfer model, and that's going to look more like what I'm using today. This allows end users to key in dollar amounts, either plus or minus, directly into individual periods rather than having to understand the balancing of debits and credits between their accounts. In this case, you'll notice my current budget transfer is not yet balanced. It's imperative that this budget transfer be balanced before I have the ability to submit it for approval. Keep in mind what we're doing here is making requests to move money around that's already been allocated to a specific fund org account combination. This is not a request for net new money. It's just simply a process of transferring money from one account combination to another. I can choose to key dollars into one specific period, or I could also choose to spread those dollars in any manner I like over any of the periods available. As I scroll over to the right-hand side, you're also going to notice there are fields available now for employee, job class, salary, and status detail. This is going to allow you to include salary-based information if that's part of your budget and budget transfer process. I'm going to click Save to save the new line item that we just added. Now in this case, my budget transfer is balanced. This would now allow me to finalize the transfer and submit it for approval. Before we do that, I want to quickly show you some of these buttons at the bottom of the page. Attach additional information is going to allow me to attach or upload supporting documentation to support this particular budget transfer. I can review the approval history by clicking on my History button. This is going to show me all the different steps this transfer has taken in terms of who created it, where it was sent to, and any comments included along the way. I can also download this transfer to PDF or Excel before submitting it for approval. I can cancel or copy this transfer, and I can also click Import if I'd like to import line items that are already included on a pre-formatted Excel template. I'm going to cover this actually in a dedicated tutorial because it may not be pertinent for everyone's particular workflow. There's also a Balance button. And the Balance button allows you to essentially get a high-level view of what the details of this transfer would mean in terms of what's happening in the real world. It's going to give you key details such as budget balance, balance information, including this transfer, and then details from your general ledger of actuals to date, commitments to date, and a hypothetical new balance if the transfer is processed. When you're ready to submit this for approval, just click Submit for Approval and be sure your budget transfer is balanced before moving to the next step.